310864. Stations your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock. He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it. The Ducks have won.
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
I am so proud right now to be the head coach of Oregon.
Catch made. Touchdown, Oregon.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It is game week here on the campus of the University of Oregon, here in the Country Financial Studio. Ryan Milano and Joey Mack on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union, where people are the point. We are 4 days and 23 hours from kickoff at Autzen Stadium.
Did you just add that up in your head?
I did.
Nicely done.
Yeah, it's at noon on Saturday. The math checks out, right?
Uh-huh.
I only did it a few seconds ago.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a math guy.
You're a stats guy.
Stats guy.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
I think we should have just like a
countdown clock.
This countdown clock right here.
So I always thought that it would actually be really cool in the studio if we had it synced to like the Autzen board. So like if you were working in here on game day, you know. So yeah, you're onto something.
Why haven't we done it yet?
Future plans, you know. I don't know. I haven't got around to it yet.
All right. Next year, right?
Okay. Countdown clock.
Countdown clock just right over here. We want all the fans to know 4 days, 23 hours until kickoff at Autzen Stadium versus Portland State, September 2nd, to kick off the 2023 football season. I'm always a believer that summer ends for people individually. Like, summer doesn't end for everyone at the same time.
Okay.
For me, today was the first day of fall. Yesterday was the last day of summer. Today is the first day of fall. I stepped out. It's game week. You're starting to really get prepared for football season. It was misting a little bit, raining a little bit this morning. So all around, it just sort of, for me, I woke up, I left the house, I was like, all right, my summer's over. It's time for fall.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I agree with you. I think that summer ends for a lot of people at the same time, though. My wife's a teacher, so when kids go back to school, summer is officially over at that point. But I think that happens, next week for a lot of people, right? Scott's counting the days. It happens a week from Thursday. For everybody in Eugene, or like just for, okay, around here. So in any case, yeah, I agree with you. I thought that it felt like game week a little bit toward the end of last week, because the Ducks did their transition from all focused on themselves to focusing a little bit on Portland State. They got a few extra what you would call like Portland State themed practices in heading into this week. So the Ducks are now in full game week mode. So what does that mean? That means our coaches show is on Wednesday. 7:05, Dan Lanning will join us. I'm really looking forward to it again here across the Oregon football social media channels and the Oregon Sports Network. Coach Lanning, last year, we asked, do you want to do every show or do you want some assistants to come on? And he said, no, I want to do every show. I want to do it with you guys. And we had a lot of fun with him last year. Got to know him, I thought, a lot better. So we're going to do that again this year coming up on Wednesday. But that, to me, is when it really starts to feel like game week. There's a lot going on around the Autzen complex. Both Oregon football and cross country start their seasons this week after Oregon soccer and Oregon volleyball have gotten underway the last couple weeks. But it really, to me, starts to feel the buzz like on Thursday morning. Like after we do the coaches show, then there's vendors setting up around Autzen Stadium. That's to me when it sort of like hits me, I think.
So you just said a lot of things and a lot of valuable things, but you still didn't answer the question. For you, are you still in summer or are you in fall?
No, it's game week. Yeah,
So it's fall for you now.
That was a long-winded way of saying that. But no, yeah, it's game week.
It's okay.
Though, so I'm curious, like, this has always been a thing at quarter schools, right? Oregon's a quarter school. So that means that students aren't back until the end of September. So you're a recent graduate and student.
Mm-hmm.
What's the student body going to look like for the first couple games?
Typically, for the first couple of games, students are still rolling in. So I think that the student section for this first game against Portland State compared to what Week 3 is going to look like against Hawaii, it's
Very
going
different.
to fill up more. And then once you get into conference play, once Colorado hits, that place is going to be rocking. The student section is going to be rocking.
Yeah, I always think about that with the quarter schools, that students aren't necessarily back on campus yet, but I hope they are for this game. I mean, I'm excited to be back at Autzen. A lot of game day enhancements at Autzen Stadium. I know you've got the list, but maybe most importantly, the charter box has been updated for those of you that are in that area. It looks really nice. They did a really nice job updating it. More concessions are going to be open. There's going to be like some specials for concessions now. I'm also told there's going to be another bar open in the club.
In the club?
Yeah, and then there's going to be new lighting, actually. And this is actually, I think, maybe the most important, useful thing, in my opinion. To the Fronmeyer Bridge, there's going to be new lighting outside of Autzen Stadium. So probably for a noon kickoff, not as important, but as we get later into the year and there's some evening kickoffs, I know that's been a request from a lot of fans. It was a request from me when I was a student, when I was making that walk. So, yeah, I think that's awesome. Just a few game day enhancements.
Also, new video board at the Mashofsky Center.
That's right.
You mentioned the concessions. What I'm most excited about is the new turkey sandwich that is going to be released at the concession stands.
He went deep.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah, there's going to be burger specials this year, turkey sandwiches available, new beer options, which I know that some people are excited about.
We messed up. I haven't requested for John Sargent to come on the show yet. I said I was going to do that last week. That's on me. I was out the end of last week. That's why Ryan was here filling in. My sister-in-law got married. But, she did it. Congratulations. Boy, we got to get Sarge on, don't we? Okay. Sarge is a legend. Have you met John Sargent yet?
I haven't met him yet.
Okay. So John Sargent yells "Go Ducks," especially during game week, like so loud that it scares me.
Really?
Yeah, it's genuinely shocking when he yells it to you because it's so loud sometimes.
I feel like you need that though.
You do. He's an energy guy, no doubt. And he's also, a great chef and a professional chef. So, we got shoot. All right, last time we asked Sarge to come on, he brought an entire cart of like the new concession items. Okay, Sarge, if you're tuned in, let's have our people talk.
That sounds like a great idea.
His office is like 100 feet away.
But I know where I'm stopping after the show.
Yeah. Okay, but game day enhancements, I've completely derailed your show already. Game day enhancements, the Mashofsky Center video board, though, is really cool. So I talked to the honorary captains. Those of you who are unfamiliar, the honorary captains are usually former players that come back. They're on the field pregame. They get to kind of have dinner with the team when they're in town, and it's a really cool way to bring alumni back. Bill Thompson from the Order of the O does a great job, and so traditionally, I'm in the Mashofsky Center at the Order of the O's tailgate talking with those individuals. It happens usually like right before the March to Victory. And the Mashofsky Center is always hopping. Well, this year now you're going to not only have like the TVs that are on the outside of the Mashofsky Center and around like the Duck Store, for example. Now the video board's going to be set up. And I know there's been a lot of conversation here in the Casanova Center about what to have on that video board. But, I mean, look, there's going to be football games. Like, there's football games going on. I got to think that there's going to be like a 4-screen, a quad box, as they say. Scott's looking at a multi-viewer quad box right now over there. I think there's going to be like a quad box with different games on, and it's massive. And then I should say, like, for the team, they're actually using it for like instant situational review, and it's actually been an important component to practice. It's not just like a big screen for film review as a team meeting. Like, they can use it actually dynamically in practice. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and with the first of all, it's a Saturday in fall, so there's going to be football games.
Noon
going
kickoff, though. You've only got the 9 a.m. games on. Parking lot's open at 7 a.m. There's your game day timeline. Yeah. I'll be here at 6.
Will you?
Yeah.
Well, they're also going to bring in some new food trucks as well to the Mashofsky Plaza. So a whole bunch of new experiences that are going to come for this football season at Autzen Stadium and the complex around it. For you, it's season number 10 for you going into football season. You've reached double digits.
What's the 10-year anniversary stone?
What
is it? Paper? Paper is the 10-year anniversary thing? And then what, 25 is silver, 50 is gold? Is diamond 75? I don't know. So my point is, I was just going to say, he's handing me paper for my 10th season. That's well done. Good job. Yeah. Yeah, 10 seasons. Yeah, whoa. Yeah.
Do you have any well, I was going to say Major League Baseball, they have once you get to 10 seasons, they give you this chip and you can just show up basically to any event that you want to, and you get tickets.
10 years is tin or aluminum, so I guess a can.
According, did you Google it?
Just Googled it, yeah.
Okay.
I don't have any aluminum on the desk.
We have some in the fridge.
I don't see any cans.
Yeah, we have some in the fridge. It's fine. Okay, your point was?
What was I saying?
I don't know.
Oh, we're talking about baseball. Major League Baseball, after 10 seasons, you get a chip where you can go into any event that you want now. I feel like you should just have
a chip, like a microchip,
like a coin, like a chip.
Oh,
you can just show.
Huh? It's like a membership token.
Yeah, I think that you should get a membership token for your 10th season.
I don't hate it. We could flip that as the coin on picks on Friday.
Ooh, I like that idea. We should make it happen.
I did not know that was a thing.
Do you have any superstitions now that you've done this for a decade?
Well,
Game day superstitions.
I do have superstitions. You know this.
Of course.
Before every broadcast, we have a phrase that I won't say. Yeah, let's see. On game day, I do have some superstitions. I always make sure that I have toe warmers. I always make sure that I have more sunscreen than Mike Jorgensen would ever allow in his vicinity.
When we were looking for cans, actually, the closest thing I could find was your collection of about 6 or 7 bottles of sunscreen underneath the desk.
To be honest, most of those are empty.
Well,
they just haven't gotten thrown away yet. But yeah, let's see. So yeah, I always check for sunscreen and toe warmers because I've been burned too many times, and I needed to make sure that I always had sunscreen and toe warmers. I always have to have an O cookie if it's a home game.
Ooh.
Rob Mosley is not the only one that enjoys the O cookies. Okay, like the O cookie is iconic. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a shortbread O cookie in the shape of the O, and then it's dipped in icing, and it's phenomenal. It really does taste better when it's a morning game.
Yeah.
Like when you can justify having a shortbread cookie for breakfast. Yeah.
Anyone who can get their hands on those cookies really enjoy those.
No,
cookies.
They're great. I've actually always wondered, I should ask Sarge this, like, we make such a thing about it, particularly, like, Rob's tweet every day, but, like, we, the staff make such a thing of it. I don't know if they're for sale anywhere in Autzen. They're not? Like, this is a staff thing? Fans, here's what I'm going to ask of you. Rob just started doing a newsletter called Flock Talk. If you haven't signed up, you can sign up on GoDucks.com. The Flock Talk newsletter, it's basically like every Monday you get, like the things you need to know in Oregon athletics, like the written version of Duck Insider, right? Well, they have a section at the bottom where Rob's taking questions, kind of mailbag style.
Ooh.
I want someone to ask Rob if we can make the O cookies available for sale. And I realize Sarge is probably going to be like, Joey, what are you doing right now? But they're so good. Like, I feel like we need to share the love, Like, you've had one.
Oh, yeah. No, they're good. They're really good.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they've ever been, like, beyond the press box. I've only ever had one in the press box myself. That's all I can speak to. So, okay.
We have to start, like, a distribution channel.
Sarge is going to
text
text
to the people.
me, like, right now. Okay.
I do want to actually talk about football because
we should.
All of this
But the game day experience is really important, so I'm glad that we talked about that first, though, because there are always some changes and some enhancements at Autzen Stadium every year, and this year is no different. And I look forward to the buzz. When I leave Autzen after running last tests on Friday, it is maybe that's a superstition of mine. I don't know, maybe I never thought about this until you just asked me this. But my Friday routine is that I make sure that all of the booth is set up. There's water in the fridge, all that little stuff. Everything works. But I also, for some reason, I always drive home through Springfield.
It's just
I don't know why.
Routine.
I've never I never go home on the freeway on that Friday. I take the long drive home.
But you do go on the freeway.
I never
on
even
normal
realized.
days.
Yeah, I do. I always say the freeway. I never realized that I do that until you just said that. I wonder. Keep going. Gosh. Okay. Let's talk about football, and then I'll come back to game day and experiences.
Back where this all started, it was me walking in today, and the football players were here. They were on the practice field.
Yeah.
They were going in the morning.
Yeah, they did practice this morning. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I thought for me, I was like, okay, that for me is the signifier of game week, where
moving the practices to the morning.
Moving the practices to the morning, and getting all the players in really early. It for me is okay. Season's here, ready to go. And Dan Lanning's done a really good job leading up to the season in terms of getting his team ready, getting different voices in. And earlier this weekend, Oregon football released a video of Tony Dungy, who he spoke to the team, championship coach. Keep in mind, Dan Lanning, also a championship coach just 2 years ago. So some championship pedigree that got to talk to the Oregon football team. Here's what Coach Dungy had as a message to the Oregon squad.
I want to talk today about winning and what it means to win championships and how you win championships. Talent wins games, but talent doesn't win championships. Chemistry, camaraderie, unity, and the sense of team, that's what wins championships. The first thought has to be, what can I do to help the team be the best it can be? Champions do the ordinary things better than everybody else. Champions do the things that everybody else could do, but most people won't. Whatever that is, whatever the coaches need me to do, I'm ready to do it. Am I ready to do whatever it takes to win? That's the mentality that wins championships. We're all in this together, no matter what. But you keep working, you keep fighting, you keep scrapping, and nothing is impossible. Put the team first, be ready to sacrifice, and there's some great things in store for the Ducks. I can't wait to watch.
I think that for me,
it's game week now.
It gave me some goosebumps.
Oh, yeah,
it gave me some goosebumps. And the messaging has been consistent between what Coach Dungy just said and what the coaching staff has messaged down to the media and the team throughout this fall camp. Unity, togetherness, what can you do to help your team in any given scenario? And that is a legitimate, credible voice who has won at the highest level, who's coming in and spreading that message to the team.
Yeah, and the theme of this year was going from good to great. We've heard Coach Lanning talk about that a lot, and so how do you go about doing that? It starts with leadership. I mean, in a lot of ways, it is those intangibles. I've heard phrases like that before. That talent doesn't win championship. Talent alone doesn't win championship. We've all heard that before. And that is true. You do need some breaks. You need some things to go your way. There is some luck in some ways involved with it, and maybe the most important thing is staying healthy. But then there's all those other intangibles. Coach Dungy's actually one of a few guest speakers that the Ducks have had speak to the team, and I like that. I think it's cool. Anytime I see on the schedule that there's going to be a guest speaker, I got to think that the student athletes look forward to that.
For me, best part of game week, it might be the most adorable segment that we have on this show.
Yeah.
Pet of the week.
Pet of the week is back.
Pet of the week is back. We've got the new pet of the week, Esmeralda, a 5-year-old Australian Shepherd. She weighed 2.4 pounds at 8 weeks.
2.4?
She was joined by her half-sister, Elliot, a year and a half later, she is full of energy, is definitely the queen of the house, and their favorite activities are playing fetch, getting belly rubs, and cheering on the Ducks. That's your Pet of the Week, brought to you by Dove Lewis, Oregon's only nonprofit 24/7 emergency animal hospital.
Oh, that's great.
Maybe the cutest segment that we have on this show.
Pet of the Week, that's one of the many things that happen. Like, this is where a football game, more than any other sport, I think, just with the magnitude, it's so much more than just a sporting event, right? Like, we have Pet of the Week. There's a bunch of recognition for the military that goes on, veterans. There's cancer survivors that are on the field. There's recognition of former players. There's faculty members that get recognized. I mean, the list goes on and on. Like, it really is bigger than just the football game. That's what makes this week for me kind of fun. Like, it reminds you that it's a community event.
Yeah, it is. You hit it right on the head. I was about to say it's a community event, and the community event starts in 4 days, 22 hours, and 40 minutes until kickoff against Portland State at Autzen Stadium. We've still got a lot more to talk about. It was a huge weekend for Oregon volleyball. Yeah. All of that coming when we come back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy, and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training, and the very next day, he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. My way of continuing my service is to help protect my community by being a responsible gun owner and by storing firearms safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Amethyst and Nicholas.
Congratulations on getting your diploma.
You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union in the Country Financial Studio, Ryan Milano and Joey Mack after a huge weekend for Oregon volleyball. 3-0 start for the Ducks in Hawaii. Beat San Diego, a team that went to the Final Four last year. Yeah. Beat Northwestern, beat Hawaii. 9 sets, 9 victories. Really just a dominant weekend for the number 9 team in the country, and with a lot of upsets around the country. I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon might move up after this weekend.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it was a top 15 matchup between Oregon and San Diego to start the season, and the Ducks were dominant. You know, Matt Ulmer, I think, has been confident when he's talked with us, and there's certainly been a feeling that even without Brooke Nuneviller, this is a really deep and a really good, really talented team. You know, what I liked is that you did see some different people step up. Like Mimi Collier, we know that she projects to be a really, really good player after being one of the best freshmen in the country last year. But I think, at least I thought from following along from afar, that there was a number of standout performances throughout each match, and that's the depth that Coach Ulmer's been talking about. It's really, really difficult to beat a team that has a lot of weapons, and that's what Oregon volleyball is. They're fun. Now, a lot of people have been asking me about Matt Ulmer and maybe singing the national anthem on senior night. I mean, look, he's on the show tomorrow. We'll talk about it.
Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch the show tomorrow.
That's all I got.
I'll stay tuned. But to get a win against a team that made it to the Final Four last year to open up the season, obviously an incredibly different non-conference schedule that the Ducks have taken on this season. We've talked about that throughout all of preseason. To come in first weekend, execute, sweep a team like San Diego that was in the Final Four, and then to carry it up with 2 sweep wins afterwards against both Northwestern and Hawaii. It was excellence against a top-tier opponent and then sustained success throughout the weekend.
One of the things that Coach Ulmer talked about that I asked him about too is playing in those successive days, right? Like that's unique in that sport. Usually it'd be like a Friday, Sunday, and even in the postseason you don't get a lot of the successive days. But you're playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday so that you can get more matches in one road trip, right? And that's what the Ducks did. I got to think that winning in straight sets helped them out. It sounds really obvious, but I think that really matters when you can build on success and you're fresh in that way, and when you have a deep roster like the Ducks do. I think the future's really bright for this team this year. Top 10 to start the year. They have a really tough non-conference schedule. Started out really tough against a team that's just last year, as you alluded to, Ryan, had success. I think this is going to be a fun season for Oregon volleyball. I really do. It's soccer starts first, then it's volleyball, then you get football and cross country. Now we're in it, and there's a lot of weekends where football's on Saturday and volleyball lines up to a Friday and a Sunday as the season goes on. Ducks aren't back at home, actually, with the way the non-conference schedule works. They're not back at Matthew Knight Arena, volleyball that is, until the end of September against Oregon State. But I'm telling you, if you're coming in for football, maybe come in on Friday night, maybe you're already coming in on Friday night, it's worth your time. It's worth your time. Now, I will also say that if you want to have the long weekend, volleyball on Sunday, but also soccer on Sunday. Graeme Abel's team had a pretty good weekend.
They absolutely did. We'll talk with Graeme Abel later in the show. He's coming in the next segment, actually. And for volleyball on that side of things, for me, what stood out was the way that Oregon went about it, where it wasn't really competitive down the stretch in a lot of these sets, where the Ducks didn't have to go past 25 points. Most of the time, their opponents were in the teens by the time they finished out the sets. And even against Hawaii to cap it off, I think that Oregon showcased why they had success all weekend long. Here's actually the final kill, or the final point, rather, against Hawaii, which gave Oregon the win and secured their sweep of the weekend.
Lang going outside. Here's Ham blocked and roofed. Carson Bacon putting the finishing touches on a sweep victory to claim the Hawaiian Airlines Rainbow Wahine Classic.
I thought it was really cool. I just want to say that Carson Bacon was the one that got that block at the end, too.
I agree. Well, first for her connection to the state and all of the Maui wildfire relief efforts that she was a part of. She talked about that on the show 2 weeks ago. But she was also part of an incredible net presence for the Ducks this weekend. Her and Kara McGee combined for 30 blocks over the weekend. Oregon outblocked their opponents 31-8 over the weekend. That is what really stood out to me from a tactical standpoint, is Oregon's net presence, especially between those two middles.
And I felt like that was a focus going into this opening weekend for Duck volleyball, because Matt Ulmer had said when we talked with him about the Portland State exhibition, he said the block numbers were in Oregon's favor, but he actually didn't think they blocked all that well. And so to see the statistics, and I feel like I think the coaches are going to be happier with that performance. You're right, and if you can have that great net presence, changes it for you.
And another number that I'm sure you're going to talk with Coach Ulmer about on the show this week, the efficiency offensively. I've
high hitting percentage.
High hitting percentage, held the opponents under a 100%. It was almost 250 points in difference between the hitting percentage of Oregon and the hitting percentage of their opponents over the weekend. Oregon had a really, really efficient offense working with a lot of different weapons, like you alluded to earlier in this conversation. They have an efficient offense, and they showcased it in week 1.
And it's helpful to have a setter as experienced as the Ducks have. It's also helpful, I think, Coach Ulmer talks – I should back up, because Coach Ulmer talks all the time about how an efficient offense always starts with the passing, right? And the focus, I think, last year was they wanted to serve better. Well, when you serve better, you get a team out of system, then you pass efficiently, you're going to win a lot of volleyball sets. And that's what the Ducks have done. None of this surprises me this weekend, I think, just based on the depth of this team, based on Coach Ulmer has talked about this. Like, they have so much depth that they have freshmen that would probably be starting a bunch of other places, you know. I think that when you have experience in passing, it just really sets up so many different things. And, like, Mimi Collier probably isn't going to have 2 people on her at the net, right? Because the Ducks have so many other weapons, because the middles have been so effective. I can't say enough about the good start. I mean, you go 3-0, you don't drop a set.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
If you're not paying attention, start paying attention now, because this team is really good. And you mentioned the loss of Brooke Nuneviller and what that sort of means for this team. But I do think, and Matt Ulmer's talked about this, that this is one of, if not the deepest team that he's ever had. And what that means with the loss of Brooke Nuneviller is that Mimi Collier is probably going to have to play all 6 rotations, and it means that Morgan Lewis is going to have a higher role and more usage. And both of them, I thought, had very, very effective weekends, where Morgan Lewis, far and away out of any outside, had the highest hitting percentage. She was named to the all-tournament team, and so was Mimi Collier. So both of them stepping up in the absence of Brooke Nuneviller, both had really successful weekends.
Well, and it says a lot about the recruiting classes. It says a lot about the talent of the roster. I also think it just says something about the way that the roster goes about its business culturally. I mean, you know, you don't replace a Brooke Nuneviller, but then others improve, as you alluded to. And Morgan Lewis really came on at the end of last season. So it's kind of a cool story to see her succeeding so early, because I think it just tells you so much about what confidence can do. You know, we talked with Coach Ulmer about that, I remember, at the end of last year. Like, the confidence got real high at the end of the year for Morgan Lewis. And so if that continues, again, depth of the team, I think that it's always difficult to go on the road and be successful. I mean, there's a reason that, you know, they always say, like, in odds makers, right, like, that 3 points goes to the home team just because, you know, like, it's just difficult to go on the road. Ducks made it look relatively easy in what Coach Ulmer described as maybe one of the best volleyball environments that the team competes in when you go out to Hawaii. So, yeah, good stuff.
And that has been Mo's MO for her career, where she has been effective in tournaments. She has been effective when it's come down the stretch. And now with the number 6 ranking that just came through, now she's getting an even bigger role, and she's showcasing it well. Oregon, they do have a quick turnaround. They have to fly from Hawaii, and they will play this Thursday. So it's not a Friday start this weekend. It's this Thursday on the road in San Diego. Once again, Oregon starting their non-conference on the road until conference play starts. So the Ducks against San Diego State on Thursday at 6:30 is the next time Oregon volleyball will be in action to defend what is now a 3-0 record and a very, very talented top 10 team. Anything else, Joey, before we get you out of here?
It's game week.
It's game week. What are we at now? We are at 4 days, 22 hours, and 28 minutes.
Game week. Tomorrow, Matt Ulmer's on the show. Later this week, we've got, and I should say tonight, Coach Lanning meets with the media. He's going to do Monday evening press conferences again. We'll have that on the show every Tuesday in addition to Coach Ulmer. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullen's scheduled to join us this week. What else is going to be on the show? Picks. Oh, we got to make some picks. Jerry and Georgie will be back with us. Yeah, the show's
slate.
I'm going up to Autzen actually right now, so Ryan's with you the rest of the way.
Well, get out of here, buddy. Thanks for hanging
dude.
out.
Appreciate it.
Graeme Abel coming up when we come back on Duck Insider. You're listening to Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot fast and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Ryan Milano with soccer head coach Graeme. Abel, coach, how you doing?
Oh, you got the Joey fist pump going on. Look at that.
I had to take something from him.
Impressive. Trademark.
He was actually mad at me before the show because I didn't use his catchphrase, but I can't steal that. Am I supposed to start stealing all of the Joey-isms?
Catchphrase?
I'm not allowed to say.
You can't say it?
It's a secret.
It's trademarked? Okay, not on the air. Okay.
It's a secret.
Oh, it is? Okay.
You just came back from the Midwest. How's the trip?
It was long. We didn't get back into Eugene last night till about 3 a.m. Our flight was delayed a little, but that was a good trip.
So well rested?
Well rested, yeah. I got a solid, I got up about 8:30 this morning, so my little one jumping on me. So, it was a good trip for us. Good trip. I think we grew up on the trip, especially the second half of the Arkansas game. And so it didn't get results we wanted, but it got accomplished what we wanted in terms of moving the team forward.
Two really tough opponents over the weekend, two opponents that are supposed to be contenders for their league. You scheduled tough early in the non-conference slate. Obviously, the opponents were expected to be difficult, but your team held up well. It didn't allow a goal for the final 135 minutes of the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think, when we looked at the Arkansas game, we had a specific way we wanted to go about it, and obviously after 2 minutes we go down a goal. When you play against that quality of opponent in any sport, right, when you go down early and you're then starting to chase the game, and I think whenever you play against that style of team in Arkansas, you've got to be on the front foot as the aggressor to try to push them back. And we just got caught on the back foot early on, and then we went down that goal, and then after that piece we were kind of chasing the game from there. But we got a really good reaction in the second half, and I think my quote after the game is I felt as though we went toe to toe with them after that in the second half, which was promising, because that's what the type of team that we want to be. Able to chat about that over the couple of days in the recovery for the Missouri State game, and then should have won that game yesterday. I just actually watched back the second half now of film and dominated the second half and created enough opportunities and legitimate opportunities to win the game. So happy with the shutouts, happy with the performance yesterday. The reaction from certain individuals and as a group in terms of how we went about the game, and on a difficult surface and things like that. So we handled that well. But yeah, we should have won the game.
So when you are playing against a team like Arkansas, who was ranked inside of the top 10, you don't come out the way that you wanted to, but then your team does bounce back in the second half. There is that resilience. Yep. What sort of is the messaging coming out of that game?
Well, we took them into the locker room right after the game, which is what we don't typically do that. We took them in the locker room right after the game to tell them that piece, to say, hey, listen, it's, the outside world has different messaging, right, in terms of, how things are portrayed. But the way we viewed it in terms of the second half was we created chances. We went about the game how we wanted to start the game. And we obviously didn't start the game that well, but we reacted the right way in the second half. We could have folded and easily got beat 8-0. They do that to teams. That's just the style of play that they have at Arkansas. And it's effective, and fair play to them. But we reacted the right way, and I felt as though that second half we matured as a group. We went about it the right way, and that set us up for Sunday.
How do you feel like those type of challenges continue to grow a team, and a young team like yours, to continue to learn how to continue to compete in a tough league that is the Pac-12 and in a tough non-conference like you scheduled?
Well, it's continuing as they go about those experiences, supporting them, making sure that we set them up for success with the information we give them, so we don't overcomplicate things. We have such a talented group, but we do have a young group. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about that. But I really don't. The age I don't see as a factor. It's more about the talent and getting the talent on the field, which we're able to do. And so it's just continue to support them through the experiences and show them the right way to do things. And I think last season we had to be a team that had to play a little bit deeper, a little bit on the back foot, and this season I want us to be we're moving forward. I want us to be a team that plays on the front foot and is able to go up and at teams and press teams and attack teams and things like that. And so it's continuing to give them the solutions and help them work through the solutions in our environment when we get to train here at home to ensure we can do that on game day.
When you're talking about attacking and going after teams and pressuring teams, what does that sort of look like on the pitch? What would you like for that to look like?
There's different ways to do it. I mean, for instance, yesterday when we played in the game, it was a really difficult field. It was a turf field that was different than Pape, where it was a lot lower, and so played with a different manufacturer ball than Nike. It was difficult on that surface, so we decided to play the ball in behind the opposition and then try to get our numbers up higher from there and then win second ball. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is when they're in possession, how high you play up the field when you defend, where you can win the ball. And then when you do attack, when you're fully in possession, where you position players. So if you lose the ball, you're able to immediately affect the ball.
On the defensive side of things this weekend, it was an effective weekend, especially in goal. Maddie Goldberg got her first career shutout against Missouri State. Like I mentioned, 135 consecutive minutes starting in the second half against Arkansas until now, where she hasn't allowed a goal. What did you see from your keeper?
Things we've seen from Maddie for a long time. I think back in the spring of 22, she was the outstanding goalkeeper in the program. She got unfortunate with a few different things that went on, and so that kind of gave us some setbacks and things like that. But all the credit and the props go to Maddie, because it's very easy kind of to dip your head and then fall away from there. But she's kept her head up, she's kept on working, kept on improving, and now she's getting the rewards of that.
When you are on a road trip early in the season, and you're on the road a fair bit early in your season, what does that do for a group coming together, a new group who's melding as one? You're on the buses together, you're in the hotels together. What does it do to be on the road with just you and your team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's they're a good group. They play games together and stuff like that. They get to play all these video games and stuff, things like that. So they hang out quite a bit. There's a lot of things that aren't necessarily manufactured by us, but kind of happen organically. We do have the opportunity to do some more meetings just because they're around the hotel and things like that. So So it's a good way to continue the education piece, and like I said, it's a good way to organically grow the group as well.
What games are you playing? Are you hopping into any of those?
I don't. Apparently, one of them has the username of my name, but it's not me.
It's not you.
So I think it's Lauren Kenny that uses my name in it. So I don't know. It's some game where somebody gets murdered and they've got to decide who it is. I don't know. They would tell you what the name of the game is. So
You've got to do some sleuthing and figure out who exactly it is.
That's
taking your name.
That's the game. That's the game. It's it's Lauren Kenny that's taking my name. I found that out. But yeah, within the game, you've got to kind of figure out who's killing who and who's the imposter. Or I have no idea what it's called, but they were having a blast playing it in the mailroom.
That sounds like fun. You were down south. When I was down south for softball 2 years ago in Arkansas, the barbecue for me was what really stood out, came off the charts. Did you get any?
I didn't do barbecue, no. I didn't do that.
Really?
No, I didn't do any down
there.
I lived in that part of the world, so I've
used to it.
done that. I actually lived in the barbecue capital of the world at one point, so.
Where's that?
Owensboro, Kentucky.
Wow.
Yeah, they have a world famous barbecue. Well, they say it's world famous barbecue.
What would you say?
Barbecue festival. It's pretty good. They have a dish called burgoo. It's like this soup, really good.
You're making me hungry, Coach. You're in action next weekend. You're still on the road.
Yep.
You're going down to Arizona. It's going to be hot. Projected to be over 100 degrees. How do you prepare for that heat? You just came from the south where it is hot, but how do you get conditioned for a game like that where it's going to be hot for 90 minutes?
Well, we dealt with some heat in Eugene here early in the preseason, which was good. We scheduled some of our practice times kind of at the 4 or 5 p.m. Window where we knew it would be kind of the hottest part of the day here in Eugene. So we could manage that piece and expose our group to that piece early on. And outside of that, the hydration piece, we use all our dietitians here to help take care of that piece. Athletic training, sports science, the medical side of things, in terms of all the different resources we have and different types of drinks and different types of, I think one's called Drip Drop that keeps them hydrated, and electrolytes and all those pieces. So we take care of that piece and make sure they're prepped, and then we go about our business how we go about it any other day of the week.
Northern Arizona on Thursday, Grand Canyon on Sunday. What are the keys to success? What do you want to see from your team on the pitch this weekend?
Again, it's continuing from the game yesterday in terms of how we went about things. I thought our shape was much better discipline in terms of central part of the field. Obviously, continue to create more in the attacking third in the second half. Yesterday, did a really good job of winning the ball higher up the field. Much more confidence in the final third. Players getting exposed 1v1. Good delivery on set pieces. I thought the unit at the back moved better as well in terms of that against Missouri State. So continuing that piece in terms of getting the chemistry throughout the units, and now it's starting to convert because it's no longer that we're creating half chances. We're creating. I mean, we look back at the Arkansas game and felt as though we left 4 goals on the table, legitimate goals. Yesterday we're looking at 3-4 goals that we've left on the table against. Now the ball's going to go in the back of the net.
Thursday, 7 o'clock against Northern Arizona. Did we miss anything?
I don't think so.
I think we wrapped it all up.
We're not missing Joey. You're doing a heck of a job.
Thank you.
There we go.
Joey's somewhere else.
He'll come in and complain in my office in a minute that I said that. But that's okay. That's okay. We're going to give you props.
Well, thanks, Coach. Thanks for hanging out. We're going to catch up with what women's basketball is doing overseas when we come back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
into the building for the first time after the shooting. It was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. It is game week for Oregon football. About 4 days, 22 hours, and 11 minutes until kickoff at Autzen Stadium. But it has been game week for Oregon women's basketball over the last few days as they've been overseas. London, Greece. They've played against 3 different teams overseas and gotten 3 victories. So the Ducks cleaning things up in preseason before their season will start in just a few months from now. It's kind of sneaking up on us, but a really great trip for the team in terms of playing basketball, but also team bonding. They were able to go on a few different excursions, get to see a few different things. The ruins of ancient Greece, they got to the Acropolis, and they had a few boat days as well, and just had a whole lot of fun. The blog is on GoDucks.com, where the team has been continuously posting, updating, keeping up with what they are doing overseas, and Kelly Graves' squad coming together with a trip across the pond that I think is going to pay dividends for this team moving forward. A lot of new faces that we got to see on the court for the first time. It wasn't necessarily televised in a lot of places, but we did see a lot of highlights, and I liked what I saw from the highlights. There were a few standout players, a few standout plays, and I think that these type of trips, and I've mentioned this before on the show, I think that these type of bonding trips, I alluded to it with Graeme Abel, where it's just you and your team, is really where things start to come together, where you build that chemistry and you build the foundation for the propeller that you need to take yourself through the year. And so women's basketball, going overseas, going to London, going to Greece, winning a few games, playing a few games, and getting to spend some time together. I wanted to touch on that because they've been doing that over the last few weeks. Coming back, they just left Greece just within the day. So that trip is over. They're coming back from it. But a strong trip for women's basketball that we didn't really have a chance to touch on too much throughout the week. Last week, I wanted to give them their opportunity right now. Really quick segment. We'll get another quick timeout. And then when we'll come back, a few Pro Ducks to talk about and a few other Oregon teams that were in action this weekend. We're talking about it all on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy, and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training, and the very next day, he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. My way of continuing my service is to help protect my community by being a responsible gun owner and by storing firearms safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas.
Congratulations on getting your diploma.
You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider on a Monday in the Country Financial Studio. Ryan Milano on the show. Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. A big weekend for Oregon that just concluded, and a big weekend coming up for the Ducks as well. A whole lot to touch on in the Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Volleyball, of course, this weekend. 9 sets, 9 victories, 3 matches, 3 wins. Got the wins against number 13th ranked San Diego, then against Northwestern and Hawaii. The Ducks took care of business. Also, soccer went 0-1-1 over the weekend. Got a draw against Missouri State. Ended up dropping to Arkansas over the weekend as well on their road trip. They will play against against 2 schools in Arizona, Northern Arizona and GCU, coming up starting on Thursday. Also, Wyndham Clark over the weekend, a pro Duck alum. Wyndham Clark, a phenomenal tour season on the PGA Tour, finished 3rd in the FedEx Cup, finished 3rd in the Tour Championship. He shot a 5-under round of 65 at East Lake Golf Club in Atlanta on Sunday to finish 16 under par for the weekend. That was 3rd place in the tournament, and $5 million the purse for his position. Yeah, strong season for Wyndham Clark, one where he got a major win all around. Really strong season for Wyndham Clark. His breakout year for the pro Duck. Also, cross country. They're starting up this week, just a few days away from the opening of cross country season at the Linfield Harrier Classic in McMinnville, Oregon, where the Ducks will get to put on their spikes for the first time, put on their flats and their cross country shoes, and go out and start off their season. So everything is starting up, and oh yeah, it is game week for Oregon football. The Ducks are 4 days, 22 hours, and 4 minutes away from their kickoff against Portland State to start off the 2023 football season in year 2 under Dan Lanning. Oregon, it's right around the corner. The 2-minute drill brought to you by Cafe Yum, serving fresh food fast with organic ingredients. Enjoy a famous Yum Bowl at 23 Cafe Yum restaurants throughout the Northwest, home of the Ducks. What else could you want from a weekend? There's so much going on this week. Everything is here. For me, it's the end of summer, the beginning of fall. For you, it might not be. But for me, I'm enjoying my fall, and I'm enjoying football season. Have a good one, everyone.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time, and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise.